Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. We've got some breaking news out of Six Flags, but especially out of Vallejo, where one, we have a press release saying that some of the 2020 rides that we were expecting to open this season may not be opening this season, but then also there is a rumor right now that Six Flags Magic Mountain might be getting a brand new roller coaster for 2021. So let's start, Jeff, tonight with some of the rumored stoppages of work for some of these brand new 2020 attractions. You've kind of gone through and determined which ones we think might be not happening. And mainly, so we all know, so we're all playing on the same page here. If you go to the Six Flags websites for the individual pages, yes, many of the websites still have the new for 2020 ride on their main page. But if you then go to the what's new, the what's new is either blank or takes you to the 2019 ride, meaning that someone actively took those pages down because, Jeff, you did all this stuff back in August and you knew those pages were all up, right?
Yeah. I guess we're starting with the bad news. In August, Andy had no internet. So Danny and I did the announcements, and I was the nerd doing the homework, and I went to every single site and I just kind of checked to make sure that I had like everything, the names right, because you know how the naming goes, sometimes it gets confusing. And I think we still messed one up, but every single Six Flags page had updated their what's new tab, added the graphics, the stats, the information, videos in some cases, except for Great Escapes, but they caught up a day or so later. So we heard this rumor that Discovery Kingdom was the first one on the chopping block. So we got the news last Wednesday after the markets closed. Six Flags did a press release, and part of that press release was that $30 to $40 million of capital expenses, so those are things that are going to be built into the parks, are going to be deferred or postponed. They did not say anything would be canceled, so I think that some of these plans are probably just, maybe pushed back out of the summer season or maybe out of the 2020 season altogether. So Sidewinder Safari is the big one. That one is off the What's New tab. It's off the list. It's off the main page. It's definitely the cleanest of the websites, but there was a lot of other sites that were kind of, I thought they looked a little inconsistent. So Six Flags Hurricane Harbor Phoenix was supposed to be getting a Paradise Island 1,200 square foot activity pool. It's on the main page, but it's off the What's New tab. It's not on their rides list. La Ronde was getting Green Lantern, now Vipier. Do you want to say that, Andy?
Vipier!
Okay. They're getting that relocated. Again, it's still on the main page, but it's removed from the What's New tab.
And I can confirm that the track, one of my friends told me that the track is on site at La Ronde for that. So they have the ride. The question is, will they construct it and prep the site, and how much of that is already done, and then how much of that will actually be done, and if it would even be done this year.
Right. And that's one that's probably easy for them to neglect because it doesn't even, it's kind of like Great Escapes. It doesn't even carry their brand name. Magic Waters, it was being rebranded to Hurricane Harbor Rockford. So this one's really weird. The tidal wave funnel is gone from the page. The name has been changed on the page, but the URL is still the old name. So that one is definitely kind of like, obviously, in progress, under construction. Darien Lake was getting Wahoo Wave, a raft ride, half pipe thingy. Sorry, I'm not a water park person, so if that, I don't know if there's a real name to that or what, but the half pipe thingy is what I've been calling it. Again, that's gone from the What's New tab. It's removed from the ride list, but it's still on the main page. Daredevil Flying Machine, which was that cool Zamperla air race thing.
Hmm.
Same deal, gone from Six Flags Fiesta Texas. It's on the main page, but not on the What's New.
And
Not
I can confirm from that Jeff, the park president, posts a lot in Texas Thrill Seekers, and he's been posting updates to theming. So they've done some prep work there too. So I think this is reiterating that idea that these things are probably not canceled outright, that they're just pushing them back. And if you think about it, if they lose half the season anyway, it's probably better to just save them for 2021 and open them up new and make a big splash with them, you would think.
Yeah, and especially that one because it was right in the middle of the midway. If I ruled the world down there, I would be thinking that would be a really easy thing to delay, even if they had the parts and the thing on site, just to kind of not get in the way of, any kind of reopening, especially if construction can't take place right now.
Yeah.
And then the last one was Six Flags Hurricane Harbor Arlington, which was getting bonsai pipeline, which was a bunch of slides. Again, it's removed from the list. It's What's New tab is all sorts of messed up right now. It's basically just like placeholders. So like it looks like a page that's not complete at this point. So yeah, they definitely have like a lot of inconsistencies, and I'm taking that as maybe some clues for what's in and what's out, because other ones are very well maintained. If we didn't talk about your park, that website is very well maintained and everything is still there.
And I think the fact of the matter is somebody had to actively go in there and pull these things down. That this isn't just like a random happenstance that all these things were pulled down on multiple sites at the same time. It seems to me that they're all being pulled down for a reason. Maybe they're being delayed. But I think it is important to say that it's probably going to be delayed and not outright canceled. Maybe some of the water park stuff at some of the standalone water parks might be outright canceled and saved for later. I don't know. I don't want to speculate on that, but we do know that Six Flags said they're cutting between 30 to 40 million. You think a good chunk of that would be the Discovery Kingdom ride with all the theming, and there's talk of animal enclosures. So you're probably talking about 10 to 15 million dollars right there. So you can add up the rest and figure it out to see if that makes sense. But then let's go to the exciting part now. And there's rumors and maybe really light rumors at this point of somebody saying that they found plans being sent to a zoning commission, just like Dorney kind of, that this was for Magic Mountain and for a new roller coaster at Magic Mountain. And some people kind of questioned whether or not that made sense because they just opened up West Coast Racers. And I actually think it does make a lot of sense, because even though West Coast Racers technically opened up this year in January for the general public, it was really a 2019 expenditure. So then you leave all of 2020 with really nothing. They scheduled nothing for this year at the very beginning.
Just holiday events.
Just holiday events and stuff like that. And so then it makes sense to come back in at 2021 and do another coaster. And Danny and I had just, talked about what Magic Mountain really needed on one of the recent Uncuts we did. Raptor might have been mentioned on that show. I don't remember if it was, I think it was. Because it makes sense to see what Great Adventure is doing with Jersey Devil. If Magic Mountain were to do the same thing, yes, you have a Raptor of, hours away up north in San Francisco with Railblazer, but something bigger at Magic Mountain might be pretty exciting for that park. And a Raptor, especially if it's of the Jersey Devil variety and not of like the clone variety, I think there might be something there. Now, if they just clone Jersey Devil, I don't know if I would be super excited about that. But
it looks very, very close to Jersey Devil.
So maybe that's part of why people are casting doubt upon this rumor, because Magic Mountain, even when they clone things, they have a tendency to change it up. You look at like Justice League, and they added the whole Harley Quinn thing. It was a very slight modification, even in the very slightest, but they played it up. Oh, it's the only Justice League with Harley Quinn in it. And everyone's like, oh, okay. So I could see them maybe changing it up, but I could also see them just putting in Jersey Devil and plopping it. I couldn't even tell you where in the park, maybe down by Apocalypse.
No, it's gonna go. It's gonna go in. I think it. I haven't been there in a really long time,
Okay.
so I think it's like the old Deja Vu area.
That's
Because
down by Apocalypse, yeah.
okay, so they're gonna reuse according to the plans that were leaked. They're gonna reuse the station that Green Lantern used to use.
Okay, well that's completely different then.
That's not the same area.
No, and I would find it really well. I don't know. I'm not a Magic Mountain expert by any sense, but I was just there for Haunt a few years ago. Magic Mountain was right towards the entrance of Gotham City, and it's like kind of right over by Superman. So if you went one way, you'd hit Twisted Colossus. If you go the other way, you hit Batman and Riddler. If you go
Yeah, it's the other way by Batman and Riddler. Yeah.
So, and I like, there's a bunch of flat rides that way and like shops and stuff and food places. I don't know. I think down by Deja Vu is the most clear sense because when I was there, they were just using that for a haunt, like an outdoor huge walk-through haunt, which is actually pretty cool. But I would think that would be the ideal place to put a coaster like that.
That could be where the 2020 edition is going.
What?
That could be where the 2020 edition is going. It was a haunt.
So because like right because you they've been playing because that new the new disco ride is over there. The West Coast Racers is over there. But I'm talking about this whole Gotham City Justice League area. So like they've been really building up that whole area, putting in a Raptor, I guess, and like anything can be done. I always thought down by the old Deja Vu plot would always make sense for a coaster for me. So I think at the end of the day, a bigger Raptor, even if it's a clone of Jersey Devil, wouldn't be a huge disappointment. I still think it's a good addition for the park.
To me, it looked like the elements and the part of the ride that's important is the same. The leak was alleging that it was just a little bit taller. And the main difference is that because the plot of land is shaped different, that the layout would have a turn out of the station and go up the lift hill instead of being linear. And then the brake run would make a big loop kind of around. So the brake run is really the big different part. And it would be, it's hard to say on an overhead drawing if anything's being added into that. But it might just be tire drives to get the things around. And maybe it would increase capacity if they were adding block zones.
And you've said the original place that this was found the video has now been taken down, right?
Yeah, I found the video on Reddit, and not long after it went up, it was turned into private, and then I think that the content creator took it down. I'm not sure if that was because they were contacted by the park and maybe said, "Hey, don't talk about our stuff," or if perhaps they realized they got something wrong and this rumor is totally unfounded. When we have a rumor, we just don't know if it's going to be until the park says so.
Yeah, exactly. And we, we're sitting here telling you it's a rumor. So, but it's just funny that Danny and I had just talked about Magic Mountain getting another coaster. And I think the general consensus there was, everyone wants a bigger coaster, a bigger, like a Giga, but Six Flags, especially now, is not going to have that type of money to throw at a park like that. So we will have to wait and see what happens. So hopefully, out of all the bad news, we do get a little good news that would make, I think, everyone feel a little bit better, right? That things will continue on in the world. So we will keep you updated here at COASTER.net with all the latest news and rumors. Things starting to fly all of a sudden.
I think every park is going to need a Raptor model for social distancing.
Well, it is true. This does make sense. You don't have to sit next to somebody. Yeah. So it's I don't know the exact distance between the front and back of those seats, though. So we'll have to find out. So as always, I am Andrew Barczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
I'm Jeff Goodman from Long Island, New York.
Right on, right Warriors.
Good night.